The Call of Duty League is presented by T-Mobile, now America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile, the leader in 5G. Presented by USAA Insurance. Easy insurance for stuff in real life.
Hi everybody, and welcome to day 3 of the Florida home series, a lovely stage set here in beautiful Miami, Florida. It is in fact kind of somewhat the Battle of Europe, as we are taking a European vacation in Miami. It is the London Royal Ravens taking on the Toronto Ultra to start the day, and we could not be more pleased to bring you guys the action as we join you here from our set and studio, virtual studio that is. Lando and Studdy calling the action for you folks at home. Stud, you looking great today, my friend. How you feeling though?
So are you, man. You're looking good in that baby blue. I like that. But I'm feeling good, man. I'm excited for this matchup. On one side, you have Toronto, who started off stage 4, losing that tough series versus Florida, but then bouncing back versus Dallas, getting the 3-0. On the opposite side, you have the Ravens, who lost that 3-2 series versus Dallas and then got 3-0 by Florida. So they both have that in common, losing to Florida. But hopefully today, one of these teams can show out and come out on top.
Yeah, we're looking for that. And at this point, when we talk about the groups, how important of a game that this is. Like I said, it could not be more intense when we talk about, like we said, that ever important stage 4 major. But as we said, a team coming off a dub, they're feeling good and they're sporting that purple quite nicely. Let's go and meet our first roster on the cards. It is the Toronto Ultra.
I'ma get right in my bag. Why you gonna try to get mad? Everybody wanna keep up. Don't you know I move too fast? I'ma zip right past. Drip all on my swag. Why you trying to size me up? You don't wanna try your luck. Hot as a stove, what did you know? Burn like coal, yeah, you know I go. Way too hot, yeah, really too cold. I'ma keep going till I hit my goals. Better get back when I'm in my zone. Do it for the ones that I know back home. Did it myself, they ain't put me on. Don't you call back if you hear that tone. Love the level.
And there is your Toronto Ultra. As we said, coming into this match, currently sit at 1-1 throughout the group stage off of a Game 5 loss versus Florida, but they were able to bounce back in a big way versus Dallas, Studdy.
Yeah, they definitely were, man. Everyone was so consistent. That was just a beat down that they put on the Empire. Kleenex had himself a series. I'm pretty sure he was at like a 1.5. Yeah. He was just running around doing whatever he wanted. So that's the answer. Is that Toronto, they were able to bounce back off of that loss, and they did it in such a dominant fashion. So going up against a team like the Ravens, you gotta favor these guys because they obviously have that major championship win. They're definitely one of our top 3 teams that we have in the game. And it's just really scary when you have to play a team like this that are just so insane.
Yeah, so insane. And let's talk about their consistency, their strengths in a number of different modes. I know we talked about search and destroy and obviously control to be specific. But again, we've seen some upsets so far throughout stage 4. And the question is, can we see another one? We know this team has a lot of heart and they've got an entire nation behind them. Let's go and meet the roster, the London Royal Ravens. And there you have it, your London Royal Ravens. We say it enough, but again, a roster that just continues to tweak up the team coming into stage 4. They add in Afro and they bring back Alex. So far they sit at 0-2. I know Nameless kind of talked about this to start off the day. A lot of spark on this team, but they've yet to be able to strike in getting a series victory.
Yeah, they just haven't found their footing yet. They're still a fairly new team. They're trying to just start to learn how to play with each other. Afro obviously coming into the CDL for the first time. He's on his rookie year, so he's trying to do everything correct. And then Alex, you know, coming back off of the break that he had, he has to get his footing right back in. He has to get back into the system to make sure everything is correct. But you need your AR players who have been here since day one, especially Seany, to be that consistent player. And then PaulX needs to be on point, because for this team to have success, he's usually the player that's going to set the tone. And let's just hop right into our keys to victory presented by Game Fuel. For the Ravens, PaulX needs to play well today. Like I said in the beginning of the show, like I said now, 0.73 versus the Florida Mutineers, which is not what we expect from this young man. He had a 0.5 in the respawn, especially in that hard point. It just wasn't good. He needs to be on point for this team. They have struggled in their S&D all year. 0-3 so far throughout Stage 4, 7-22 this season, which is the last in the CDL. Obviously, when you're coming off of that roster change, S&D is going to be this game mode that you tend to struggle with, but hopefully they were able to go back, put some practice in there, so they can definitely come out with a better performance. And then Alex, he's been solid in the respawns, but not so much in the S&D, and this was something that Name was touched on in the beginning, is that he is that pacemaker. He's going to be the guy that's going in first, and the fact that he's sitting at a 0.38, that's just not good, man. That's probably one of the worst ones I've ever seen. So he needs to be on point today, specifically for them to have success in that game.
Yeah, and that search and destroy has to hurt. I know we talked about the game 5 they go to versus Dallas. They lose both of those. The series that they obviously have coming into this, versus Florida, just not clicking, at least in that particular department, but who knows? Maybe today can possibly be the change-up. Now we go and transfer over to our game fuel keys to victory for the Toronto Ultra. Hey, keep up the great teamwork and respawns. The entirety of the team was above a 1.0 KD in that win versus Dallas Empire. A big win for this team to kind of get back on track. Also, the game is easier when the SMGs are playing at a high level, and I feel like we could say that for a number of different teams. But this roster in particular, right? They can get that second win this stage with that explosiveness on their side. And then finally, continue to be great. Continue to be great, especially in that swing mode as they sit 10-1 in control since the start of Stage 3. Only loss that they have, of course, is to the Atlanta FaZe, which I think these two teams are kind of competing for that #1 spot in control, if we talk about it enough. But we talk about the explosiveness out of the SMGs. You see Bance, maybe kind of preparing for that explosiveness. Kind of getting quiet. Everybody's getting ready for our first hard point, which is going to be on Checkmate. As we now take a look at our maps and modes, we've got Moscow S&D, good old Gary Control sitting in the center, Apocalypse Hardpoint, and Raid S&D to close. We see the double Raid bans there out of London. Not too uncommon given their most recent series, Stud. But what do you make of the maps and modes? Anything stick off the page in the vetoes?
The one that sticks off the page for me is that map #1. If London come out and they lose that map #1, which I feel like they're going to be fairly strong at, because like I said, they love to play it on control. Paul X and Shawnee, they love to run around that plane, pick up those SMGs and just do it all. If they lose that map #1, they're going to go into that Moscow Search and Destroy where they haven't won it all year. And that can be really scary because we know how strong Toronto can be in that game 3, in that control. So you have the potential to at least fight through this series if you can take this map #1, but you're going to go into your worst Search and Destroy for your map #2. If you're down on 1, you cannot allow that to happen. So you need to answer the call on this map #1.
Yeah, no, I feel like often, we talk about, one team, versus more of a top caliber team. Like we talk about, Toronto's obviously pretty high in the standings, London not so much. I feel like oftentimes we talk about, where's the blueprint at? Like how in the maps can they potentially kind of either take us to a game 5, get themselves into a good situation. And we talk about that Garrison Control. That one's been pretty good for them as well. And then that Hardpoint Apocalypse, they sit 5-0. So it's like you have a few different checkpoints almost kind of throughout this 5 map set. And it's just a matter of how far can they get. And I know you talk about it so often. That Hardpoint, that first Hardpoint, the opening, it really starts to set the tone. And again, as we discussed at the top of the show, can anybody shut down this SMG in CleanX? Can they take down the explosiveness of both he and Bance together? Is already at the start of this hard point into Shawnee, the sole man, really for the roster who's been here since the beginning, and it's pretty much the sole man to hold on to the spawns, as it has been a clean 25-0 to start off for the Ultra.
Yeah, Toronto just went in there, got a clean 3 dead, and just forced Shawnee to play back, but they're just gaining so much time off of this P1. They keep the pressure up once again, and now they have to just locate this one player in Afro that's going to be sitting in towards backwood. They think that they have the spawns flipped. They're still getting a tremendous amount of time on this P1. With them getting 3 players down again, it's all about just focusing it off the rotation. And I don't know if they're going to have the information that Afro's there. The attack is going to come in, so that's going to give them a little piece of it. But he's going to be able to get a kill. Now it's all about just trying to stay alive for your team to get to you, but Toronto sniff him out. And so far, they're playing perfect hard from start to finish. Good rotation to their P2.
Yeah, nice little 7 spree going down for the Toronto Ultra as a team. Finally, Inside does get cut down, but it is a 67-0 start. The Ravens having to work from the back foot. They win 2 early battles toward the front, and they very well could start to open things up, but it's going to be the constant waves as the ARs off of spawn do the damage that they need, and this lead just continues to grow. They dominate over at P1, and really in Slang, it has been that similar case. CleanX does get the trade, and with that 20 seconds left, you're sitting in London's position. You're like, if we're gonna push this, we gotta push it now. If not, we gotta go on the rotation. And that next hill is not going to, generate a ton of points really off the start, as this has been one solid beginning out of Toronto. Nobody from the Ravens able to get things going just as yet.
Yeah, this is one of them whoopings to start this map number 1. A good way to start day number 3. Toronto just showing why they are the top team. That's going to be another 3 down. And they're going to be able to hold the spawns for the London Royal Ravens to spawn out towards that back P5. Now, it's all about just trying to take down Afro off this pinch, but he's able to find 2. So that's going to set up a 4 dead. And finally, the Ravens are able to put some time onto the scoreboard for them. It's all about just trying to hold Toronto towards this backside of P2 so they can have that execution, trying to get over towards that P4, but they're doing a good job holding the lines right now. Insight was able to get one towards that left side yellow, so you're going to see a player in Alex rotate over. But Alex, so far, he's not having a good map. He's currently sitting at 1 and 8. He's going to need to step up because Toronto, they're on point to start early.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And I think whenever Ravens were finally able to hop inside of the hill, I don't know if it was a good feeling, probably just more of a reveal, or rather a relieving feeling at that point. But 115 to 25, a solid start here from the Ultra as Bance continues to go on a spree, finally cut down, but it just feels like there are 5 to 6 players on the map right now for Ultra as they just continue to cause havoc. As now we head toward A Street, given the advantage that they have. We'll see how much involved the comms have to do with this, as we'll go and step aside and go to our Astro listening with Toronto.
Oh, died.
I'm blocking for a sec right now.
Alex,
weak on the right. Listen,
go.
2 back stacks.
Stacks, okay.
Yeah.
Give me a trophy, Jim.
Yep. I'll block. So we can do it.
We're gonna go right, Jamie.
I think they're going right.
Yeah, they are.
I have to cut.
Yeah, on the right.
Top lane.
Paul, on the
On the plains,
I dive blocking. Run back.
Can't run back.
Alex,
Right.
top
Top
lane,
lane.
Top lane
in mid.
Was weak.
Exit on me.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
good.
Alex
Alex
is
is
push
pushed
through.
through. Listen, Alex is already hit through.
Top right.
Alex already hit through.
Close right him.
Don't see Max.
Listen, take up time. I'm gonna spawn out. Listen, take
Top.
Max is Jiglem.
I'm trying
Yeah, I
to
just want to.
He's in new.
close left as well. Ben.
I can pinch the guy front. I can
Look
pinch
at
the
me.
guy.
I'm absolute Toby.
Get back. We're just gonna hold.
Listen, they're gonna hit out left. They're gonna hit out left.
Yeah, I'm pinching front. I'm repinching front.
One push that left. Deep left.
I'm coming in. Yeah, I'm with Jamie.
Yeah, one's on time. I can't see the guy on
Yeah,
time.
he's shot now. Dead.
Nice.
Close. Deep back on me.
Up, nice. That's free. Last guy.
Last guy. Deep back.
I'll kill him.
Close right him.
Yeah.
Hey.
Nice. I'm playing left. I'm going
go round.
Yeah. Left on the left. Alex weak.
I
Left.
I'll get front cross for now.
Hit me on
Yeah,
left.
I'm literally. I've got no trophies.
easy.
So if I get needed, I'm running off.
He's already front.
Yeah, I got flash. It's all good.
Shoot. Only one front.
When's
Back left. Pollex back left.
Late comes to me. I'm
Dead.
dead.
Nice. They come.
He left
Come,
He's going
yeah,
back onto
yeah.
time.
I'm watching wood hop.
I'll kill him.
Ah, died.
Nice.
One more camp. He's behind the pillar still. Back left now, back left as well. Let's kill this guy.
Weak.
I'll land back into this.
Could be close.
Hit him close, hit him.
Dead.
Nice.
Yeah, top exit.
Cool, calm, collected there from the Canadians. I mean, if you want to really call them that. But hey, nonetheless, I feel like at times it's almost, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like at times whenever you are up big in a game, it can be easy for those comms to kind of relax a little bit. I don't know if I would say that necessarily for Toronto, but what'd you make of those comms there? Did you take anything away specifically in what they were doing?
I think the comms are just as calm, cool, and collected as they can be. And this is exactly what Toronto, they're in the driver's seat by 100 points. But you could just tell that one situation where they had one player in Cammy spawn out, they were talking nice and slow, made sure every comm was heard so they can set up that Prince properly. And it was beautiful because the Ravens, they were all trying to push out the back left out of that P5. They just couldn't make it because Cammy set up that pinch from the front side. So it was all just calm, cool, and collected, textbook, make sure everybody was doing the right thing at the right time. In Toronto, they're just making it look easy, man. They're currently up by 100 points, like I said. They're keeping the pressure in towards this P1. They don't have the spawns, but they're up by so much that they can continuously fight this on. Now, it's all about just not letting the Ravens back into this one and getting a break onto that P2.
Our point advantage still somewhat intact, as now could be the chance for London maybe stack up some points. I know we talked about opening hard points. It really hasn't been the best for the Ultra lately, given how this score looks. You'd probably think it's the exact opposite, but 2-4 in their last 6 series. And that is why we talked about how this could be such a great kind of door opener if you're the Ravens, kind of a great opportunity to get yourself in this series, but just continually the coordination out of Ultra as what could have been a great opening for the Ravens once more. Doors shut straight in their face as that 100-point advantage now gets locked in once more. Final 30 seconds look to be going in their hands. Alex, not a game really to remember as he sits on -10 for the moment, and It really is the overall difference. Like, I feel like, Stud, if you were to remove Alex from this equation, I mean, what? It's a pretty even slang across the board. No real major kind of outliers, just outside of the entry SMG that we continue to talk about.
Yeah, it's pretty even. The only thing is that Ultra, their kills are a lot more impactful. They're getting the kills off the rotation. They're getting the kills to flip out to put themselves in better power positions. And they're just making their kills a lot more useful. And this is just something that the Ravens, obviously, you have a couple players who are sitting around even. Only Alex is -8. But it's just the way that Toronto are playing it, man. Every single kill is textbook. Every single kill is exactly what needs to happen in that situation for the play to develop, and they're just countering every single time. Right now, you're going to see the Ravens on towards the point, but Toronto, they're just keeping up the pressure. Trey's back and forth, and they still have that 100-point lead, so they can just keep this a contest fest the entire time.
Grant Alex does go on a nice little force spree for a moment, but again, you just look at the score and you think, is it even possible at this point? I mean, we're talking about a miraculous comeback, a number of different chains, a number of different sequences, kills that have to go your way. And I feel like oftentimes, when we have talked about the Ravens, it has been those slow starts, right? It's been, you know, at times whenever this team was going on that nice little spree, like, you know, to kind of close out stage 3 and coming into that stage 3 major, one thing that was dramatically improved was the hard point. When they went in that 4-1 spree out of 5 series. And I gotta say, man, I just feel like it is the hard points. I feel like it is those game ones that just constantly hold back this team. And when we talk about if you lose a game 1 hard point, we're also talking about the 12th ranked team in Search and Destroy. Those early starts, I think, have to hurt, and they especially hurt a team that's not great at game 2s either.
Yeah, it's definitely going to hurt the Ravens, but so far they're fighting back into this game. They're not giving up a lot of time off of this P4. Toronto were able to bring it back in, but just back and forth kills on both sides. And the thing about this map is it's never over until it's over, because if you can get chain of P4 to P5, you'll be able to get right back into this one. They're just giving up way too much time right now to Ultra. They're still picking up kills left and right. They have the pressure on towards that yellow crate, so they're not going to force any players from the Ravens to spawn up behind them. Until Paul X is actually going to spawn out behind them. But the Ultra, they can win it here. They can close it out here if they want to.
If they want to, will they get the chance to, is the question. Paul brought down to 12 HP on one side. Cammy ruling the A Street. Goes for the turn on, and how about the 6th as well? Going out on a high note as this game comes to a screeching halt. 250 to 138, the final score. It was Ultra to start, and it was Ultra to finish. Most specifically, it's the Cam Man.
Just a great start to the game. Toronto they started off on bad side. They break in to that P1 hardpoint with a clean 3 dead. They forced Seany to play nice and slow towards the back. And eventually, towards the end of that first hardpoint, they were able to get another 4 dead and flip those spawns. They just grew the lead so much in the beginning of that game that it was hard for London to try to fight back in. They kept the pressure on. They were trying to win those gunfights off the rotation to get back into that one, but Toronto was just always one step ahead, and that's why they walked away with that map. Toronto up 1-0. Good first map out of Toronto.
And I'll just be honest with you, man. It just looked effortless. Like, it looked effortless, especially toward that P2. Back-to-back times, like, London in a good position, and then as you said off the start, like in the very beginning, it was a nice 40-0 start out of the Ultra, and then they just break into P2 somewhat effortlessly. Like it just didn't seem as if they had to work all that hard, constantly London on the back foot, and as we said, Slang, not as crazy as I think the score at times can implicate, but Dapper not playing well overall in throughout this hardpoint, and Alex starting off the way that he did, like a 1-7, 1-9. It is never, unfortunately, going to get the job done. But Toronto, they strike early in a game that we said needed to go their way. It is a very happy Ultra roster now coming into the Search and Destroy. Can they find themselves up 2-0 in the series, or can London finally right the wrongs inside of Search and Destroy? Now is their chance. It is Moscow when we come back.
The Call of Duty League is presented by the US Army. What's your warrior? USAA is made for gamers. Level up your gear protection with USAA Insurance.
Well, folks, Ultra, they answer early and in a solid and dominant way, winning that checkmate in a fashion that most Ravens fans would probably not like me to have to repeat, but still, all we know is that Ultra find themselves up nice and early in this Game 1 hardpoint. And this Game 1 hardpoint has kind of been the talking point around the Ultra. They have 12 losses this season. 11 of those losses have come from the opposing team winning the Game 1 hardpoint. So unfortunately for Ravens, in unfamiliar territory when it comes down to taking down this Ultra roster, but you never know, man. And now we kind of have to transfer this conversation once more to Toronto coming into this series. There was a lot of talk on, where does Ultra kind of rank right now? And that victory that they had versus Dallas, I think it kind of made everyone realize maybe it was just an off series versus Florida. Maybe it's just Florida, the Mutineers who have really kind of turned up. But again, coming into that match versus the Empire, they dominate. I think they go plus 43 in slang, and you see that 1.55 KD there from Kleenex.
Man, that's just a domination, man. Everybody was sitting basically over 1.1. You have Insight, who's going to be the consistent AR, slow play, make sure he's getting you those spawns. But when you have your submachine gun players like that, Kleenex 1.55, Bance with a 1.2, it's going to be really difficult to stop these guys because they use everything with teamwork. So with the fact that those SMG players are putting up those stats, the ARs have to be doing the consistent work. And going into this map number 2, I said it, it's going to be really scary for the Ravens because they have yet to win a Moscow Search and Destroy. They're sitting at 0-6. On the opposite side, you have Toronto, who are 5-5. And the way that Toronto like to play this map is nothing but a rotation. They like to take the control of the middle map. They like to go from B to A and just keep the players off guard on the opposite team. So hopefully the Ravens are able to respond here because we know how good Toronto can be in that game mode for number 3.
Yeah, and it's a shame too, like I said, for Ravens, because like I said, it's the worst search and destroy team playing their worst search and destroy map. So with that in mind, I hate to set the stage that way, but I guess kind of on topic with what we said the Ultra like to do on this map, as you kind of laid it out, Stud, the rotations, the way that they're able to kind of manipulate both the A and B bomb sites. I guess as a defensive team, like how do you mitigate? Like how do you almost try and encipher enough people to one bomb site versus another? How do you try and handle what is a constant changing of attack out of the opposite side?
I think if you're the Ravens, it's all about just setting the pace right off the rip and being the aggressor on your very first defense. Like trying to take control of middle map, being aggressive towards A, whatever side of the map, just setting that tone to know, like, hey, we're not going to back down. We're going to push you guys, even though you guys are pretty consistent in this game mode, and we're sitting in dead last. So it's all about just setting that pace, gaining some momentum early into this game. And with the Ravens starting on offense, they're going to be committed towards this A bomb. We know how Toronto like to play this. You're going to have Cammy, who's going to be pushing that flank immediately, and Insight working on the opposite side. But with Bance opening up with that first blood and Kleenex with the second, goes from a 2v4 at this A bomb to a 2v2, and this is a bad start for the Ravens.
It is, and as Seany finds the kill, instantly it's Cammy on the flank, says thank you very much, I'll take one and also take the second, picking up for where he left off in the hardpoint. It was Ravens who try to force the issue over at Eskies, but just as they find a kill, it is not just Ultra in front of you, but it is Ultra behind you. A nice two-piece there from Cammy.
Yeah, and that's just not a good play right there from the Ravens. You had the numbers. You want to be aggressive. Obviously, they cannot see what we can see, but you have to be able to set the tone right off the rip and not allow Cammy to just right off spawn, just hit through the street and immediately go towards that flank to pick up those 2 kills. If Vance and Kleenex don't pick up those ones, obviously it's a different story for the Ravens. They have the potential to take that bomb site, but now they found themselves down 0-1. And like I said, we know how the Ultra decide to play, so it's all about the Ravens just setting the tone with the aggression right off the rip, and they're going to have 3 players over towards this A bomb.
Toronto so often just in control over mid, and Seany is in the middle of a very difficult spot as he does get dropped there from Bance. So mid-map presence no longer felt there from London. As you see Alex, he really doesn't have an angle to look at for the most part. Visuals are somewhat gone. So is it A, is it a rotation back toward A, or is it the full send at B? Based off player positions, you could argue which one was the right one to go for, but they quickly hop inside. Look to get that bomb down, but can we get the nice timing? They shut down the bomb plant as the nice double comes in from Afro. Meanwhile, it's Insight on the outside. The quick 2 versus 1 as Alex has to do everything possible, and he does exactly that. Keeping in mind, bomb was not planted. But Cammy does have an extra job to do. 25 seconds left, and really it's just a matter of Can Cammy find this positioning from Alex? But so far, unsuccessful. Alex in somewhat of a typical spot, but Cammy has yet to go this particular direction. Does he decide to check it, or does he realize the plant just has to be in? Does he check his right corner? He does not, and Alex most likely gets the audio cue, but Cammy hops off the bomb. Alex has to dip away. Just a second on the clock, and Alex, just by the skin of his teeth, backs away, hops out of the bomb site, and is able to win the round. But a second more, and that one, you like the chances there from Ultra. A very scary spot for Ravens as they level it up, stud.
Yeah, that was a good round right there out of the Ravens. Even with the player dropping in that first blood, they were able to wrap back towards B, get some great timing on insight towards that Shri as Afro and his teammate and Alex decided to push up through that side to get a 2-piece, eliminate the bomb. Then obviously time winds down. Cammy probably would have won that 1v1 if there was an extra second on the clock, but Alex was able to clutch up in those final moments. So now we're tied at 1-1. London are going to change their play up and try to commit towards the street side. And Afro with some great shots, able to get first blood. Cammy has the info that Seany is one shot, but not able to get that trade. So you see both players from Toronto being aggressive through that A side. They're trying to single out this player in Paul X. But unfortunately, he's going to be able to stay alive. Now that forces the players from Ultra to try to make a different play. They're able to spot these players as they're trying to wrap back towards A, so the gunfights are going to be here. So while can they win a couple engagements, Bance with the first makes it a 2v2. Now it's all left up to Cleanex in a 1v2 situation, and some great shots out of the construction man of Seany to hit those with that Crimsix off of the head glitch to make sure that Alex does not, Cleanex isn't allowed to make a play happen. Construction man comes alive right there in London. They walk away with that round.
I'll tell you what, man, we need a construction man over at the Eskies. That thing hasn't worked in years. I mean, it just stays there. Way too much work.
Yeah, man, we need to fix those things.
Escalators are meant to not make you have to use all your energy. Oh boy, a nice round there from Ravens. As you said, Seany takes down Cleanex. I feel like despite Ultra not having numbers, they were doing a good job at least putting themselves in opportune spots. As Cammy once again with the beams, as he has had Shawnee's number so far throughout this game. They will grab the first blood and not make too much of a progress over at the bomb site that you'd expect them to, as they will quickly go back now for the Rapid A, and based off of man count, they've got the 4 versus 2. Man count in their favor. Close player in Eskies, that's going to be Afro, and he will answer the call to start off, but Cleanex is there for the reply. The rookie gets dropped, and now it is all on to Paul X. From one rookie to another. Paul, who has been so good at times in Search and Destroy, has to take down the #1 player in Search and Destroy at Insight, and he's able to do it. Position, no, but it doesn't matter. He has the beams ready for Cammy, and now we've got ourselves a 1 versus 1.
1v1, and Cleanex is going to be able to get that bomb down towards A. So Paul X, he did the hard work. He was able to get 2 kills before that bomb even got planted. So he has a lot of time to work on with the clock in his favor. 35 seconds left. Cleanex is going to be tucking himself in towards this corner. And Paul X, he's trying to read it. He thinks that Cleanex is going to try to hit an Eskies and try to play one on a flank side. But time is still ticking. Eventually, you have to give up that play. And Paul X, he's going to get spotted right there by Cleanex. So Cleanex is trying to get out with his life. But Paul X, great plays. And he's able to clutch the 1v3 for his team. I thought it was an impossible situation. But the Red Menace, he knew he has to play big for this team. And that's a great way to put the momentum in your favor. 1v3 for Mr. Paul X to put his team up 3-1.
And that has to be big. As we said, Search and Destroy 0-3 so far throughout this season. And rather throughout this stage, excuse me. Severin and
these shots right here,
record on the year. Yeah, nice shots from Paul. And this is given the records, given everything. I mean, you'll take every advantage that you can get. Paul, obviously putting the momentum now in the corner of London, as he has been the X factor for this team in Search and Destroy, as the 7th highest in the entire CDL, instead of 1.77 in wins, 0.93 in losses. So he hasn't played bad in losses. He has just had to go off for the team in their W's, and so far, he does the job to get them their 3rd.
Yeah, he definitely has been on point in this game mode. Put his team up 3-1 is a great advantage. Now it's all about just shutting down these mid-round adjustments from Toronto. And the fact that they keep taking control of middle map. You see 2 players from the Ultra just having to wrap back towards that B bomb, thinking that there's going to be some noise over at B. But Ravens, they're going to have the numbers. They're going to have the numbers at this A bomb. How aggressive do they decide to be? Vance is going to be giving up his position there. Tries to put a nade down to close out on that kill, but not able to get it. He stays alive, at least able to take down one before he drops. So now it's a 2v3 situation with the Ravens having to plant this bomb.
And a great play from Cammy, does get traded. Now it comes down to Insight. 1 versus 2. Nice shots onto Paul, but he quickly has to back up, and thankfully there is not a player toward that outer glass, as he will be able to stay alive for a moment. Insight been so good in these clutch situations. Can he answer with one of his own? A 1v3 in the last round? How about a 1 versus 2? Paul goes for the instant transfer over to the side, puts in some good shots, but it is the ARs on the other that are able to answer themselves 4 rounds straight out of the Ravens, and on a map that we definitely thought that it could be the other way, stud. Like I said, they're 0-6 on this map. They have yet to win a search and destroy so far in stage 4, looking totally different here on Moscow to start.
Definitely, man. It's just that round right there to decide to take mid-map control. And with mid-map, you can rotate to either bomb. So you're forcing a couple players from the Ultra to split out. They can go B, they can go A. So when that split happens, the Ravens, they do what they do best. They flood out towards that A point. They win their engagements, eventually work that bomb plan in a 2v1 situation. And Paul X with another great shots. That's another 3 kills on the round for Mr. Paul X. He's 1 kill away from earning towards some streaks, and he's just keeping up that pressure, man. This is a good bounce back match so far for him.
Great game to start. Again, based off the early looks, Ultra tenting at B, and they halt what has been a great spree lately from the Ravens. Without a doubt, a swing type of round if you're Ultra. 5-1. Not too kindly of a situation, but the EU battle continues to get interesting. Bance will look to lay down the plant. That one's successful. Instantly has to get into the fire and trades his life, but it will be the Ultra with man count advantage, a current 3 versus 2. As Seany looks to reposition, and from this bird's eye point of view, tries to give as many comms as he can to Alex, but Toronto, they smell blood in the water. It's Insight for 1. Seany now all by himself, but it's Ultra to clean it up. A great bomb site take and a overall great hold as Bance involved in a number of different ways, laying down the objective, getting involved in the kill feed as well.
That was just great adjustments right there out of the Ultra. They did not leave the street open this time around. Insight made sure that he kept eyes on that, and even when Bance was planting that bomb, the teammate in CleanX was watching that street door as well. But on the opposite side of the map, you had Cammy, who won his one-on-one engagement that really opened up with that first blood, which just causes the players from the Ravens to try to slow down on their setup. And Cammy, he's that island player. If he can really start to take off in that role, Toronto Ultra can get back into this one. But now the Ultra are going to be on defense. It's going to be a complete blind counter from the Ravens. They're slowly approaching up towards that B bomb, and the aggression is on for the Ultra. They're trying to push out towards A. They're going to be able to open up with a first blood as Insight catches Paul X trying to rotate over. So they have the man advantage. All the info that they're going to be is going to be in for Toronto. Now it's all about how do they approach this situation.
And you can argue London a little bit too late to the party. Granted, they do find a nice kill toward outer. So CleanX, one of those problems, like a pop-up on the flank, he gets dealt with. But again, Seany drops. Information is simply inside a laundry. And Afro and Alex gonna have to be straight A's to start this one off, but it's Vance with a great engagement. He backs up, and now Alex, can he pull off another masterful performance? Players already on the defuse, and Vance has some other words. He's been planning, he's been defusing, and he's been slaying 3 in a row as the Ultra will be able to walk away with back-to-back rounds. But I feel like London, despite kind of having a nice little bit of a bait, like they're a little bit slow to go over toward the bomb. Like Insight rotates, he gets information through mid, he, you know, is able to find a pick, and then from there I just felt like London had a set of plans to go forth, but they weren't able to execute as fast as they needed to.
Yeah, they just weren't fast enough right there. You had that one player who was going to be Cammy, who was all the way across the map. I mean, for the Ravens, you had one player who was being that island player, watching the players push through that A bomb. There was a lot of them there, so he had to give the information to his teammates that, hey, B bomb should be open. So eventually they just took their time, and it just gave the time for Insight to open up with the first blood, and then eventually turn around and gain all that information of them going B. It's just way too slow right there out of the Ravens. Once you get that information that there's a lot of them at A, you need to immediately hit in that bomb site and get that bomb down to put the time in your favor.
And how often do we talk about confidence? How important it is to be decisive on your attacking rounds. You could argue London in that situation, we didn't have all the information that they needed to, but information is currency. Sometimes you just have to make a play as Ultra making their way in toward B. Nobody yet to drop, but it's about to change. Great movement out of Benjamin Bance.
There it is.
And with that, it looks as if the rotation is inbound.
The rotation is in, man, and this is going to be a lot on the only player who's going to be here, which is going to be Alex. He just needs to be able to play his life and not give up his positioning, stalling enough time for his teammates to eventually get back to him. So the bomb is going to be working. Alex cannot get an angle on the bomb planner, but Cammy's eventually going to spot him. The nade tries to come in. Both players are going to drive Cammy with some great shots, eventually followed up by the nade, able to open up the first blood. Now inside on the flank, unfortunately, he's going to get shot in the back, so now it turns it into a 3v3 situation. Phoenix is going to have to go big. He's going to have to go big. Unfortunately, he's only able to take down one. The trade is about to come in from Cammy, but he's not able to hit those final couple of shots. PaulX now left in a 1v2 situation with 20 seconds left. Great shots on the Bance. He knows the positioning out of Cammy. He has a lot of time to work with. Cammy, all he has to do is just play this clock. But PaulX is going to spot him. Unfortunately, Cammy is going to win the engagement, and the Ultra, they hold on. And such a scary round right there out of PaulX. The guy clutched once. You cannot allow it to happen again. And Toronto, they're able to tie the game up all at 4-4.
Oh my gosh. What a scary moment toward the stretch. A 1v1 that now brings us to a straight 4-4 scoreline. I thought Paul may have in fact done it again. Solid attempt, but it is Cammy sitting on the 4 spree. A great sequence brewing right now for Toronto, as now it's London's turn to answer on offense. As we said last time around, the attack a little bit too slow. They had something in mind, but Toronto were able to beat them to the site despite getting fooled in the earlier stages of the round, but from a fast pace to a much slower one. Both teams, specifically London, looking to find the pick.
Yeah, they're just slowing down the game. No one's trying to get first blooded. No one's trying to be the reason why they cannot win this round. So they don't want to make any mistakes from this point on. So right now, you're going to see the Ravens repositioning, take control of mid-map once again. It's looking like they're going to try to attack up this Eskies area. And with Cammy sitting all the way in the back middle, he's not going to be able to give that information to his teammates. But that trophy going down, a nade coming in, and they should know. Now it's all about the pressure and staying alive, trying to pick up a couple players to allow your teammates to get there, and Bance with some great shots in the same position, able to get one. Phoenix with the second, Cammy with the third. Now it's all up to PaulX once again in a 1v2.
Oh, and Paul, not an opportune spot. You saw he tried to get up there on the brick wall, but unfortunately not able to do it. As Toronto pretty much lined him up from there. You saw Bance with a nice angle toward outskirts. London did what they could, but it's up at a nice little spree brewing for the Ravens. Now has turned into the exact opposite. Toronto, I believe, with 4 rounds in a row. 11-4 for Cammy, 11-6 for Bance. Can they make it 5 straight to walk away with this game? As now they've got themselves an attacking round, and it very well could be a fast and aggressive one over at A. Confidence in the hands of the boys in purple as they look to enter in toward the site. It's Bance with the trade. Alex valiantly looks to hold as PaulX brought down to 13 HP. Rookie v rookie, and it's Paul's turn to get a favorable engagement on his side as now it comes down to Cammy and Kleenex. Alex there for the trade. Oh, onto the Cam man, but they line up for 2. They line up for 2, but Shotzzy is there for the trade. Our hearts stop for a moment, but it's got to be ready to beat once more. We've got ourselves a round 11, despite some scary situations here from the Ravens.
And that was one of those bloodbath rounds. We know all the action was going to go down over towards A. We saw the Ravens. They were able to come out on top with the man advantage, and Cammy almost clutches another insane 1v3. But Shotzzy with some great shots to force it to a round 11. So now you're the Ravens. This is exactly what you need to get done here. So far, that mid-adjustment, that slow and steady on offense has been working for these guys. Try to take control of mid-map, work up the Eskies, and eventually get towards A. But this time, they're going to have 3 players going towards that B side. That number 5 player, which is going to be PaulX, holding that flank once again. He's trying to get some information, but this time, the Ravens, they're going to be a little bit quicker this time around, trying to go over towards this B bomb. Insights are going to be able to spot a couple on the street, so you see that number 1 player in Cammy. Eventually, he's going to have to try to change his positioning up. but he's just holding this window room. He knows that inside has his side street. He's able to open up with the first blood. Unfortunately, it gets traded, so now it's a 3v3.
Bomb on the back of Alex. Insight. A little bit of teammate support. Claynex look to work the boulevard, but it appears to be the rotation.
Audible.
They're calling the audible, but you look at Ultra, and they're reading this. They are reading the rotation from London. Are they going to be able to counteract this? That's the question. Are they expecting the unexpected? Is Bance around the corner? I can hear the Jaws music in my headset as Bance finds the first, and at the same time, his teammates are there. The Ultra, a great read as they're able to walk away with a crazy search and destroy. Unreal plays toward the stretch as Ultra get the job done in OT.
And that was just such a great round right there out of the Ultra. They knew that once it turns into a 3v3 situation, they're not going to try to put the pressure on B. So they had one player on the Ultra who was watching that mid-map cross the entire time. So when we called the audible on the side of the Ravens, they saw it as well. So it was a complete blind counter out of the side of the Ultra. You got to tip to hat. It was either number 2 or number 4 from the Ultra. One of these guys was watching that mid-map cross, and that one hurts if you're the Ravens, man. You come out, you take 4 rounds straight to put yourself up 4-1. Then you lose 4 rounds straight to go down 5-4. You get it all the way to around 5, and trades come in. It's just that late rotation. If Ultra did not have that one player to watch that cross, and it had to be Claynex. It had to be, because he was the player that was slowly rotating over towards that B bomb. He gives that calm out to his teammates. Perfect blind counter off the rotation towards that A bomb. Toronto up 2-0 in the series.
Well, that one has to sting if you're the Ravens. I said
100%.
0-4 now in stage 4. In search and destroy, and you get to watch the intensity back from Ultra. Talk about how big of a W that is for this team. We talk about it's kind of a grudge match type of situation, but those 2 players toward the top, right? Both Bance and Cammy combined for 28 and 13. Unbelievable performance from that particular duo, but oh, I tell you what, man, just overall a very, very intense game of search and destroy. Treated us well. I know for the Ravens fans, not too primed about it, but now we'll go and take a look at our U.S. Army tactical play, and it's round 11, stud.
Yeah, so this is the round 11. We're starting at a 4v4, so we know that Afro is going to go in there and get traded as he drops to Cammy. So now in the 3v3 situation, you see the positioning of Claynex, you right? I mean, actually, it's going to be Bance, actually. So Claynex is going to be the aggressor in towards B. But with 45 seconds left, the Ravens know that there's too much pressure, there's too much noise going on over at this bomb site. We have to try to get over to the opposite side of the map. And perfect timing right there. Like, as soon as that happens, you see number 4, he turns his face towards middle map, and they're just completely knowing. They know that Toronto, they have to get over towards that bomb site. Ravens, they are rotating over towards A. So Bance, with the heads-up play, he's going to be here nice and early and just catch these players off guard. And it was just such a perfect rotation out of the Ultra in that round 11 to catch all the players as they were thinking that the bomb site was open. Ultra come out on top with a great play call.
Oh man, the fist bumps in, I'm imagining, from aBeZy, giving his teammates some much needed props on what was a very, very impressive comeback. A great sequence there out of the Ultra, as now they find themselves up 2-0. Will it be a sweep, or can the Ravens start to rebound here on Garrison Control? Make sure to stay with us, folks, as we've got Game 3 up right after this break.
Call of Duty League is presented by T-Mobile, now America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile, the leader in 5G. Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. Seany, the official eyewear for the CDL. Armor your eyes with Seany Blocks blue light protection glasses by visiting seany.com/gaming.
Where did Cam go?
He's coming back now.
He should be here in 3, 2, 1, 0. Conley is back. I smell him. Okay, Awakening, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
I can smell you.
Yeah, let's just fucking talk to these guys and have fun, yo.
Yeah, exactly. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Listen to your teammates.
Yeah.
Game ready, please.
Yeah, I'm Rain Getty.
Rain Getty.
I'm ready.
Oh, you're See, Alex is a sicko. Yo, should I play with my fanny pack on this match?
So wait, does he get to conquer it as I run up the stairs?
As your challenge. You'll be able to get out the stairs.
Yup.
What did you say, Octane?
They don't ever use the things that you say.
Oh, they're going to, though. They're gonna use it.
Literally, I don't think they've used it once.
No, they're going to. They're going to.
They used it once.
Yeah, thank you, Press. Ooh.
Gotcha, bro.
You're bad, Sam. You're gone.
Yo, yes, my name is Vance. I love to listen to some trance. Yeah.
I like dance.
Toronto got bars. What's good?
Come on. Yeah.
Just because you're my friend.
Nice. What a bonding moment. Just because you're my friend.
You know where to go.
I'll talk about
Yeah.
fusion dance.
The fusion, what is it?
Fusion dance.
Fusion dance?
My name is Cam. I love jam.
Listen, add a skirt to that, please. There
Let's
you go.
go.
All right, guys.
get
Let me get
it.
those.
Pretty cool.
Huh? Said it was eyed, I guess. Kind of cool.
I thought it's pretty dope, dude.
I'm gonna butter your biscuit.
Whoa, no one put me in a non-recorded channel. Whoa, no one told me?
Hey, we're about to
Whoa,
play.
I
What do you
said we were
mean?
moving up.
Yeah,
I wasn't here.
Guys said, whoa, my channel changed. Like, brother, we're about to start the map.
Hey, Brandon.
Yep.
Oh, never mind about that.
You're hot.
Alright, everybody say sausage, keep it going.
Eggs, bacon, grit, sausage.
Okay.
No.
Preston,
Yes, sir.
you are good to flex.
Yeah.
Yo, that's so good to flex.
You just put it up there.
Pissing it, guys.
Around.
We won!
Welcome, folks, back to the Florida home series. We're in the midst of a very interesting series going down between the Ultra and the Ravens. Somewhat of an all-EU type of battle, but so far it has been Toronto with 2 answers early. Ravens, despite having a nice advantage in the search and destroy, were unfortunately not able to get the dub. That 7-23 record just continues to be an unfortunate stain there out of the London side, but now we transfer into control and a sizable advantage in favor of Toronto once again.
Yeah, man, 20-11 versus the Ravens, who are 12-10, and a crazy stat is that obviously in the last 11 matches for the Ultra, they are 10-1 in the game mode, and even better than that, in their last 16, they're 15-1 in control. So this is their backbone game mode. You see Vance, he's just gonna do his little meditation. It's been working for him so far throughout the series. The guy's going all for his team, and to answer the call on this map number 3, you're gonna have Toronto, who is 7-2, and on the opposite side, the Ravens, who are 6-3. So this is gonna be the Ravens' best control map. But just the way that map 2 ended, the momentum swing that Ravens are starting to build up there, and Toronto just completely just snatched the rug from underneath them. It's gonna be hard, man. The Ravens need to come out and just try to answer early.
I want to ask you, obviously, what's up with the Ultra? Of course, they're feeling good coming into this. What's up with the 4-1 advantage in the S&D that London had in that Moscow, of course. What's up with momentum? Of course, that's going to be in the corner of the Ultra. But I want to ask you, like, what are you looking at from the Ravens? Like, is it a specific player? Is it the SMGs? Is it the ARs? Is it just the entire team as a group? Who do you think needs to kind of set the tone for the rest of the roster here for London?
It's going to be the SMGs. It's going to be Afro and Alex just slowing down the pace of Clayster and Vance, because we know how Vance can play. He's going to try to shoot a lot of players in the back, and that's just because he's putting himself in the best positions. Clayster is going to be crawling through the underground, fighting around the middle of the map, just winning his close-on engagements, and them starting on offense, they need to be able to answer the call early. They cannot get put in this trap right off the rip. They need to come out and get some kills as they're trying to approach this top green, but Van's in the perfect position to at least cause some problems. Able to take down 2. Eventually, he will get traded, but Well, that's going to slow down the Ravens push right off the rip, which would allow Ultra to get map control.
You talk about Bances, you know, oftentimes can be shooting players in the back. Maybe the side, at least to start, you know. An unfortunate beginning for the Ravens. This, oh gosh, that one has to hurt. Cammy, shot that just makes you sit up in your chair a little bit more firmly. And the SMGs have come to play. The 74Us are firing, and Insight, who finally gets an engagement, says, thank you very much. We're going to take down Alex when I get the chance. A very pesky player to try and take down, but Ultra have been handling business in this early defensive round on Garrison. It's up a momentum kind of for Ravens. You want to get something going, maybe even just a capture point. Like, not necessarily a tick, but just overall, get a capture point in your hands. Get a sequence of kills going. 23-19 in favor of Ultra based off of lives as Paul looks to try and do something, but just as when he starts to make his way forward, it's CleanX, it's Vance, it's CleanX once more from the top rope. Despite how somewhat even it kind of appears to be, I mean, what, it's just a 5 life advantage, now a 4 life advantage for the Ultra. It just looks as if, again, the Ultra just have so many players. They are just constantly putting themselves in positions to succeed, as the Ravens, I don't think more than 1 or 2 players throughout that entire first round even made it past the 50-yard line. Maybe even past the floating tank.
No, they definitely did it, man. It was all that initial break. Like, they try to commit towards that A push, and Ban's the reason perfectly. He goes towards the bottom middle. He's able to take down 2 before he's traded, so that's going to slow down the push from the Ravens. You have to wait for your teammates to come off spawn. You cannot allow them to be trapped in, and by the time they were waiting for that, the other 2 kills come in, and now all 4 of them are basically trapped in. Ultra have full map control. It was a pretty impossible task to get done, so the Ravens, they're not able to walk away with that offensive win. So now it's time for the Ultra to show me what you got, baby. Let me see what they're going to be able to do on this first offensive push. You see, they're going to be taking it slow, just trying to find some kills. But with Alex opening up the first blood, it's time to turtle up if you're the Ultra to make sure this round doesn't get out of hand.
And what you got? Let's see what they got up their sleeves. Unfortunately for CleanX, runs into a few AR shots that are probably going to give him a nice little headache probably into the morning, but a W would probably make that feel that much better. And keeping in mind, Ravens, Seany does get cut down toward top ramp. Did win this particular map and mode versus the Dallas Empire in that Game 5 series. It was, in fact, a 3-0 here on Garrison's control. And, you know, I hate to be that guy, stud, but Dallas Empire not necessarily the best team in control at the moment. But at the very least, it is a positive in the Ravens camp. And for a while, they had kind of set up a nice little 2-map advantage in those vetoes, right? Being good at both Checkmate and Garrison. A map that, I guess you could say, Seany and Paul are somewhat more well-seasoned on. We'll see if that can start to lead to something, as Vance puts in a nice kill from the back once more. Cammy finds the cleanup, and that very well could be the B point in the hands of Ultra.
Yeah, so Ultra, they just caused too many problems on the map. They force all the players from the Ravens to wrap back towards A because they know they do not want to give up that point. It's a lot more difficult to hold B down instead of A. So they're going to give up this B point. Time is going to extend by a minute. Tied at lives for both of these rosters. So now with a lot of time on the clock, Toronto are going to decide to push in towards bricks. They're going to be able to spot Seany towards his back tank, but with some great shots onto Insight, he's able to shut down that player. He's causing so many problems, but CleanX with some great shots, able to take him down. So here comes the CleanX able to win a second as well. And that's going to be able to allow his teammates in advances to go around the backside, but Paul X with some great shots, able to shut down that first push out of the Ultra.
Yeah, that's a big wave to take down. With 50 seconds left, possibly 1-2 more pushes out of Toronto that you have to deal with. A much easier job said than done, but nice nade post-death kill there from Seany. Is once again the push halted out of the Ravens, but can that defense hold? A big round already out of London, going down 0-2 versus one of the best control teams in the game. You have to get an answer here, but Seany goes up on top of the boxes. He gets dropped, and the nice close range shot from Cammy as well. The definition of a flex player as CleanX now around the corner. The quick trade, Vance is there, and one more player left on side of the point. It's going to be Paul, who has to get out of dodge. Unfortunately, he's not able to do that. So with 15 seconds left, the time halted for the moment. A current contest as the Ravens look to try and answer. The reply is in. Desperation now at the hands of Toronto as they have to sprint forward. Cammy dropping Bance and Cleanex, what can they do? A current 2 versus 3. No players making their way in from green as Cleanex is able to stop it for a moment. But the Ravens, they hold. It was not an easy hold at that, but they were able to do so as they walk away with the defense and now bring us to 1-1.
Yeah, that one got a little scary because when the pinch came in, Paulex was that last player on towards that point. It was a one-on-one, and the guy was just able to finesse and get all the way back towards the top plat, and eventually his teammates were there to get to him. So it was a good hold overall by the Ravens. And this is something that I really like with this team is maps that you allow Paulex to run that third submachine gun. The guy can do it all with any gun in his hand, and so far he's keeping up that pressure to try to slow down Bance, to try to slow down Cleanex, and he's answered the call, man. Sitting at 12-9 with that AK-74U is something that we usually don't expect out of this young man because he's so great with the Krig, but he's able to do it all, man, and that was a good hold right there out of Paulex.
I want to ask you too, like, how impressive is it from your opinion for a rookie to be able to put up as high of numbers as he does with the Krig, but also a totally different role in the 74U? How impressive is it at that young of an age to be able to do that?
The guy's just a grinder, man. Live, breathe, and just die by Call of Duty. Everything that you do is going to be Call of Duty, and the guy's just been putting in the time, man. If you're playing, you know, a little bit of league play, you want to switch it up. You always don't want to run an AR. It's going to slow you down. So you probably practice with your AK-74U. So that's what the guy's been able to do. He's obviously feeling really confident with this weapon. So just having a player that can go between both of that, being at your flex role, is such a great pace because versus a lot of teams, it can change up depending on pacing, depending on how you want to play versus certain teams. And the guy can answer the call versus anyone.
Absolutely has. A nice quick 3 in a row as Afro holds the line, finds a big double, and now with Cammy finally able to shut him down, that will give somewhat of a sigh of relief from the Ultra camp as again they look to remain perfect and really on their defensive end. Vance, as we know, trying to be all up close and personal inside of the spawn, takes down Paul, and again, just his ability to escape with his life sets up his teammates to coordinate these kills. As you say, Stud, 4 down. And a nice little team spree going for the Ultra now. 6 straight. Vance looks to make it his 4th in a row. With 25 seconds left, Ravens, they've got to get a push going soon.
Yeah, they have to try to push out and try to touch B to try to stop this clock. And kills going back and forth. Cammy and Bance able to come out on top. It's all going to be left up to Seany with 15 seconds left. Unfortunately, he's going to drop, and that's going to force all the players from the Ravens to come off spawn. And the Ultra just have way too much map control to give this up. Vance is still working on a 5 spree. They're able to sneak out through dark. With insight, able to find 2. Eventually, he's going to get traded in the Ultra once again. Are just keeping the pressure on them, man. Once they're able to chain a couple kills together, they were just forcing the players from the Ravens to work so hard, check every corner, and it's just not working out for them, man, because the Ultra, they're just playing so ratty, keeping up that pressure, and that's why they're up 2-1 so far.
Yeah, well-deserved round out of the Ultra. As we said, it has just been defense up to this point. Solid kills, really, from everybody. We talked about a number of different players who kind of swapped that 74U. You saw for a moment Insight, very well known with that AR, has pulled out the SMG from time to time, sits at 21-12, and Vance coming into this 4th round, it's on 5 in a row. So very well could be looking at some streaks if you're Ravens. We constantly talk about that initial, how important that is. Not only do you have to win the initial most likely, but also try and take down Vance before things get a little bit out of hand. It's not uncommonly looks to play this one a little bit slower, takes on the rookie of Afro and picks him apart. A nice kill there for him. As Ultra looking good early at this B point. 1 more kill. That would do it for Vance. Does he go for the challenge? He realizes it's in his hands, and there we have it. An artillery, and with that trophy as well, earns the cruise.
Yeah, so the guy's going to be fully streaked out. So this is the best, so far, the best round of offense that they can possibly get. Even if they find themselves in a situation where they have to fight out of this spawn to try to break out a top green, you have those streaks in the back pocket. So you're always going to be thinking about it. But Afro on the opposite side of the map, he's able to win those engagements. It's going to shut down 2 players, make it 3. Cleanex is going to be the last player from the Ultra with a little bit of positioning, but he's eventually going to fall. And Afro, he's starting to come alive in this game. Currently on a 5 spree, going to put himself in a position to try to pick up some more kills and earn some streaks of his own. That's going to be another 3 down, and right now, this is the best defensive round we've seen out of the Ravens so far. Just keeping up the pressure the exact same way that the Ultra have been doing them so far.
Yeah, it looked like one of the better offensive attacks, and we could say the same thing about defense, just solely based off of Afro's play. Can he as well earn a streak? Has to take on Vance to do it, and does so, as that's going to be a nice 8 in a row for Afro, turning things around and feels himself Tries to take on the long-range shots from Insight. And I believe it was actually Alex who took down Afro. So, pardon me. More of a team affair in this situation. So again, Bance with streaks. On the other side, you have Afro. So those will, in some ways, cancel each other out. 8 seconds left in Toronto. They got to do something. Bance, realizing the time, looks to do all he can. Sets up shop. Looks to set up camp, rather, as he'll be the only player inside of the point. Cammy will look to join him. That's 2 ticks through. Can anybody from the Ravens look to challenge this? And it looks as if they will give it up. But with that in mind, as we said, streaks could start to play somewhat of a factor. Minute on the clock for Ultra.
Yeah, and the Ultra, they're playing it so great because they know the positioning. It's all about just trying to get these streaks out of Afro. So the score streak is going to come in. Here comes the cruise missile. 2 players are going to drop in the time. So eventually Afro's going to drop as well. So it's all left up to Paul X, but he's going to respond with his own streak of his own. And is able to at least take down 1. So now Ultra able to get on towards this point. They have a 1 live advantage. CleanX causing problems in towards this bricks area. That's going to force Afro to use his cruise missile. Can he find anything with this to try to allow his teammates to get back on towards this point? It's going to get turned into top green, but no kills are going to come in. Bance finds 1 Paul X with the trade. And Toronto, right now, they're just keeping control of top plat. The second streak is going to come in for Bance. They're trying to close it out here.
They are. We've got all our streaks coming through nice and quick. Bance does take down Paul, and based off the streak utilization, it's Ultra who are able to answer late.
Big one-on-one.
Did anybody from London get here in time? Seany at least is able to escape for the moment. Now it's Afro's turn. The nice double nade from Paul. Unfortunately, takes down his teammates, and with that, they line up toward the stretch, and the Ultra will claim a victory here once more. They get the job done on Garrison and walk away with a 3-0 despite the chaos of the kill streaks.
And right there, the Ravens had a 3 live advantage when Ultra tried to push out towards top green. And the only thing that threw him off guard is that once Bance uses his cruise missile, obviously Afro has to respond with his artillery strike. But the thing that caught me off guard the second go around is that Afro, he opens up with the cruise missile.
Right.
And that is completely off guard because you got to go back and forth with those streaks. You need to be able to counter that. And the fact that he wastes that opportunity, it forces his teammates to think, hey, he only had the cruise missile. And unfortunately, he didn't. He used the artillery strike at the perfect time, able to shut down the last couple of players. And the Ultra, they played it beautifully, man, and they walk away with the 3-0. Tip the hat to these guys because ever since that loss to Florida, they haven't lost a map. These guys are back on top.
Yeah, and obviously, when we talk about for Ultra, it's going to be a nice win for them. And obviously for Ravens, Afro, fortunate side. Last 2 losses have been in 3-0 fashion. They currently sit at 0-3. Now here in stage 4, a team with so much promise, a roster that had a lot of momentum coming in. Everybody was excited to see Afro, and obviously he performs well throughout a lot of their series. He's been playing great, but the team has just not been able to put together wins. And unfortunately for them, a roster that's still trying to put things together. They go up against a very, very stacked Ultra lineup who are looking great after their win versus Dallas, and they just carried that momentum into the first hardpoint and in the rest of our games, as it is a 25-17 performance from Insight. We talk about Bance. He goes 22-13. Nice reply on the other end from Afro. As we said, he goes on the spree, but like you said, man, just a lot of different plays kind of toward the stretch, different moments where the Ravens looked like they had it maybe in their hands, but a solid W nonetheless for Ultra as this team looks to be back. If we, even if you thought that they were starting to falter a little bit, a win like that has to say a lot about the team, Stud.
It definitely does, man, because every time I think about the Ultra, the only team that really causes us problem is Atlanta. Yeah. So you can't really be mad. Ultra just handling business. So far in their last 2 series, like I said, they have been a clean 3-0 in both. And Toronto, they're just getting back into it. They're trying to progress, to try to go up with that rematch versus Atlanta FaZe, because I feel like that is the best matchup for them. Right now, they're just so far ahead of a lot of these teams. Their teamwork is on point. Their play calling is on point. Whoever called that 5-5 round 11 rotation has to be a god. They were just on point today, man. And if the Ravens, you let that map 2 slip away, which could have really turned the series, because on the second half of the series were their better maps. They had the Apocalypse hardpoint, which they are undefeated, but they just weren't able to get there, man. Toronto in the 3-0, looking better than ever.
Yeah, looking great, looking solid, and we talked a lot about this series, how it was the teamwork, and that is going to be our scuff play of the game. The definition of this particular play is, in fact, teamwork. We're going back to round number 3. Bance and the boys getting the job done. Just one of the many plays that kind of set up what would later be the 3-1 win here in Control, Stud.
Yeah, this is just the pressure that they were putting on. They had control of tools, they had control of dark, and now it's all about taking control of junk, and that's exactly where Bance is. You're forcing all these players to spawn out all the way towards the back of that street, and it's just really hard for the Ravens to try to fight out. Like I said, when they are coming out of their spawn, they have to check every single corner, and that's just something that Ultra are so good at doing, is just being annoying, and it was really difficult for the Ravens to respond on their offenses. I would have liked to see them a little bit more aggressive on their last defensive round. They had a 3-live advantage. They basically, it was only 7 seconds left on the clock, and they just allowed Toronto to just take that B point with ease. And you had that live advantage. It's not a bad problem. Just throw a couple lives away. You have streaks in the back pocket as well, but unfortunately, they decided not to be aggressive on it. And the Ultra, they used their streaks properly to close it out.
You're wonderful, stud. I want you to know that.
Thank you, baby.
Hey,
love you too.
Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely. Oh boy, a solid win here from the Ultra, as love all around. And unfortunately, it was not a love-loss type of situation here for the Ravens, as they do get 3-0'd by the Ultra. And, you know, kind of we talk about the rest of the schedule. LAG up next for Toronto. I know that has not been really for LAG a performance to start off that's been so nicely. They've got New York to lock things up. Another team that still has to face off against these same rosters is London. In fact, they will be in search for their first W versus New York. That series going down in just under a week's time, followed up by the LA Guerrillas to wind out their stage 4. Again, a big road to the major. A lot of people excited, but none more than the Cam Man. It is the Scottish superstar who's feeling good about the W. He's rather going to be joined alongside by Lottie after this break.
The Call of Duty League is brought to you by GameFuel. Unlock a CDL team pack with any purchase on gamefuel.com/CDL while supplies last. Offer ends on August 31st. Tournament audio and team listen-ins are powered by Astro Gaming, the official headset and mix amp of the Call of Duty League.
Hello everybody and welcome to your Game Fuel Victory Spotlight. I have Cammy joining me from the Toronto Ultra. Congratulations on the dub, man. That was absolutely incredible. And to be honest, there's no better way to say it other than you were frying, my dude. Absolutely frying left, right and center. Let's start with S&D though on the series, because it was kind of a tough way to kind of start things out with S&D for you guys. You had to really pull back and get that comeback. How did you make it happen though?
I think that's been happening to us a lot recently. I think the first few rounds we just take too many risks, try too much stuff, and I think we were kind of just choking like numbers advantages and whatnot. So we knew we were still outplaying them, so we were just stuck to our game plan, kept doing what we were doing, but obviously started clutching up rather than losing the rounds that we shouldn't be losing.
Yeah, you have the ice, that's for sure, at the end of the day. And hey, look, if you can close them out, doesn't matter what way you do it, at least you get the dub across the line. Now, control, though, in this series has been a pretty big strength for you guys for some time now. So what do you kind of attribute that to? You know, how do you guys manage to be so successful in that game mode?
I'm actually not too sure, to be fair. I think our practice, I mean, I think we were ahead of control for a pretty long time, but I think now teams are starting to catch up and figure out how to play, you know, raiding garrison like the way we do. So, I mean, teams are starting to catch up now, but again, in that match right there, we've just clutched up and won our gunfights in the right spots, and that's what's given us the edge.
Now, obviously, you guys are, you know, the top team to look at the moment in the league, with a couple of others thrown in there at the moment as well. But, I mean, talking about catching up, you know, how do you guys make sure that teams don't catch up to you too much? What is it like being on top and having to stay on top?
I'd say it's like it's stress-free as long as you don't get complacent in practice and whatnot. We're just making sure, you know, we're still going as hard as we were before when we were struggling, and keeping on top of everything. And obviously, I think teams are eventually probably going to catch up on some stuff, but that doesn't mean we can't still learn new things.
I feel you, man. Well, Cammy, you have 2 more matches left. You've got LAG, NYSL, so best of luck in both of those. Keep frying. We love seeing it, man, but thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, folks, we do have another game coming your way, and I told you at the beginning we have our Game Fuel marquee match sandwiched in between 2 other bangers, but this one is an absolute banger. We have Paris Legion, after their incredible victory yesterday against LA Thieves, going up against OpTic Chicago. It is going to be insane. You don't want to miss it, and we'll see you after the break.
Hello and welcome to the Game Fuel marquee match. Maven and Røkkr here. We've got OpTic versus Legion to continue on today. Joe, sir, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. You know, Toronto getting back into the swing of things with the 3-0 that we just watched. But for Paris, maybe some momentum on their side, able to take down the Los Angeles Thieves. And then for OpTic, to bounce back match right after the 3-0 versus Atlanta FaZe. We want to see some improvements, right? The mission for them is not done. Keep improving for the end of the year.
100%. There's still a lot of work to do, and I want to check out our Game Fuel featured player, who for this matchup is going to be Scump, the king, the beast, a gamer so popular that 4 years ago, a baby named Seth went from 2% in the United States to 48%, Joe.
It absolutely did. Yeah, I mean, Scump, obviously, you know, he has really had a solid year, especially in Search and Destroy these last couple of stages. It feels like, I mean, him and Envoy really starting to work together a little bit more. And the only thing with Scump at times is he can start a little slow in those game 1 hard points. But The big thing here is that number 2 in Search and Destroy. He's been solid in control and hardpoint as a submachine gun player. He knows he doesn't have to be the star with Dashy and Envoy on his team, but in S&D, he has been so good for this squad.
He absolutely has, and they're going to need that today. As you mentioned, just Legion kind of coming alive as of late. You heard the fire and the passion, their comms in their last series. It may be a little revenge match maybe for Temp, but hoping they can bring that same fire here today. But you see Scump getting locked in, talking things through with the boys as they look to bounce back from, yeah, it was a tough series. I mean, it was brutal. There's no other way to look at it. You just have to put that in the rearview mirror and bring your best today. That's all you can really do, and it's tough.
No, I think for OpTic, you know, the goal for them just top 3, right? Get to the major, top 3, get to land. That's what these veterans want. They want to get back to that stage.
Absolutely, but let's talk about this OpTic Chicago lineup. Let's take a look through this star-studded roster. We'll check it out now.
Brutal, mighty Crimsix going formal. Looking fantastic. Envoy slaying his way through. Scump from up high, the king. I'm out here doing what they thinking is irrational. Really starting to run that score up. I'm gonna make it back. I'm gonna make it back. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, OpTic Gaming are back. Chicago are a force to be reckoned with.
You got to bring the fire today, the passion, get back on track. The wins are huge. We're getting back to land. You want the best position possible. Joe, who are your eyes on today?
Well, I think my eyes are mainly on Formal. I mean, obviously, you know, they get 3-0'd. It's a squad loss. It's just what it was. But Formal really underperformed. He had one of the lowest series KD-wise of the year, stats-wise. So, you know, he's a main AR. He's got to be the one to really set the pace, and doesn't have any easy matchup of going up against Aqua today.
No, absolutely. You just don't usually get series like that out of a player like Formal. When it comes to the slaying category, he's typically pretty consistent. So looking for him to bounce back in a big way. Now on the other side of it, Paris Legion, hot off a big victory. Can they keep it rolling? Let's check out the roster here for Legion.
Wonderful start here from Paris Legion. Paris Legion just about pushed that player off the hard point.
Can they clutch up and go big?
Classic just being aggressive in the plane.
Fire's got to get on the bomb, and he will. He finds the kill.
Unbelievable stuff. Aqua's from the back end, able to pick up 3 along the way.
Paris Legions.
What a round!
Joe, I was so impressed with just the comms we heard the other day. You would expect maybe at times this team to be down on themselves, just considering the performances they've had so far. But against Thieves, man, you heard the passion. They came out with a fire, and they got an impressive win.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you look at this lineup from top to bottom, there's a lot of talent here. There isn't all the teams,
sure,
you know, in the league. But I think these guys, especially in the respawns, they have the firepower. When you went to that listening on Apocalypse, it was just like they were playing like their year was on the line, and it kind of is. Every single match for them is so important with the CDL points on the line.
100%, but let's get into our game fuel keys to victory now. We're going to start off with Paris Legion. Joe, what were your thoughts?
Well, they got to keep up with the momentum and search and destroy. You know, they've been a pretty back and forth respawn team, but when you're winning searches, that keeps you in the series. That gets you to a game 4, another hardpoint if you have a slow game 1. Aqua needs some help in hardpoint. He's the only positive player on Paris Legion, 1 in 5 in stage 4. I know there's a lot of roles shifting going around, but they have to get it together going up against a tough respawn team here. And play with the same passion and intensity that we heard in the comments for Steve. That's kind of it. Every single match is so important for this squad.
It's just interesting to see that stat line, because I guess when you see it on paper, you think this is a team that would be solid in hardpoint and maybe struggle in search, but it's the total opposite. At least 100%, right now.
100%. Yeah, no, you are not wrong.
Yeah, no, it's been kind of wild. But now the keys to victory for OpTic Chicago. Joe, go ahead.
Well, come out of the gates hot. Don't give Paris any momentum to work off of. You know, they have that win. These guys are fired up now. And then a bounce back match for Formal. 0.46 versus Atlanta FaZe. The big thing, though, is minus 27 in those respawns. Games 1 and 3. He's got to be better there. And then Scump to stay consistent in search and destroy. He had a 1.2 in stage 3. He's got a 1.5 in stage 4. I know it's not a huge body of work, but that is just where he's just been so darn good.
Yeah, I mean, we have a tale of two stories here. Kind of one team trying to ride the momentum off of recent win. One team trying to bounce back from a recent thrashing. And we'll see who is able to do it. But I guess, Joe, I know Legion hasn't been great in the respawns, especially the hardpoint as of late, but we know it's a team that can catch fire. Do you see them as a big threat here at OpTic?
I think I see them as a threat in map 1 on garrison control, because that has been Legion's kind of go-to hardpoint. They're 7-4 on the year. The raid and the Moscow, not as much, because I think that's where OpTic has been very promising throughout this entire year. So game 1 for me is kind of the place, games 1 and 2, where Legion can maybe get this to a game 5. The standoff is still so new. Both teams are 1-0. There's not a lot of work off of, and Garrison has kind of been Legion's home. So if you're a Paris fan, maps 1 and 2, that is your opportunity in this series.
Yeah, I mean, you really want to take both, but if you can at least go 1-1. I mean, the one standoff we saw, they look great, but yeah, it's a small body of work for basically everybody in the league right now, but it just added into the mix. We get ready to start off with Garrison hardpoint. And this is one that, OpTic kind of put into the arsenal a little bit more when, Raid was struggling for them when you talk over the last couple of stages. And they look to improve here. Dashy is a guy that, I mean, it felt like when he was taking over this map, Joe, they were getting wins.
Yeah, I mean, early in the year, it was a lot of Garrison that we thought, and they kind of got away from it. And then they came back to it because, early on in the matches, they didn't go so well for them. And then, yeah, they went to Raid. But Garrison is just one when you think about, a lot of engagements on OpTic should be good on. But Paris is kind of right there. They're a team that thrives on this map with a base they can set, and Temp and Scraps going to open this game up for some early P1 control.
They'll get off to a nice start. Let's see if they can rally this together. Well, Scraps has got the read, but Scump's got the gunny. There's the opener to get them out of the hard point. As multiple players fall in his squad, the pressure going to come to Temp as he's playing from cautious, looking for the angle. As Formal will rotate into the point. Now Formal's time to pounce, as we're looking for him big time to rebound from that last series versus FaZe, but slow start so far.
Yeah, you see number 6 Dashy, him and Formal just making sure they have the rotation over that second hill. That's why 5 and 6 are there. One player is going to spawn out, though. That's going to be Envoy. Hard to get that forward position as Aptius, he starts to go hunting. So you see where Temp is spawning. You're going to have a good first push here. If you are Paris Legion on this second hill, well, OpTic, they're going to have to fight from it. Can they win the first couple of fights from this position? And over to Scump, our game field featured player. He's trying to rotate through, but Temp rocking that AR, a 5-1 start for him.
We know the passion and how ferocious he can be. Like Temp, man, when he gets rolling, he is a man on a mission. And he keep it going here. He's taking out teammates as well, as he is lighting everybody up. The 6-2 start will be great, but end of the hard point with the clearance now goes OpTic. There's still a healthy amount of time here, about half the time left on the hard point. Is Scump trying to settle into a position in top green. He's sliding around, trying to get the finesse game on, but Scraps will be there and has his number. Is Formal on the receiving end of some more Temp beams.
Well, that's just a great job by OpTic, right? They're fighting from the hill. A couple of players are spawning out in Paris. They have a 4-on-2 for a brief moment. In the trades, they're able to trade effectively. And yes, the team kill does come in, but Scump takes the long route. He's able to get on in, gets his team spawns. They now have that 28-second lead. And you see Scraps, he's going to spawn out. So it's a 4-on-3 right now. They're going to try and trade this out as quickly as possible. You see the forward position for OpTic. They're going to spawn another one out, and what a play by Envoy, just to try and stay alive. His AR some angles. Dashy and Formal not able to connect on anything quite yet.
We were so impressed with the Legion comms we heard in their last series. Just passionate. They were firing on all cylinders. Excited to see if that's going to be the same case here. Let's go to an Astro listen-in for Paris Legion.
Get him! Kill this guy, kill this guy.
Absolute.
Nice, baby. Get this time, get this time.
Push at the front,
Front
Nice.
Nice.
Need your front,
Left side front.
Need your front.
Down, play tunnel. Get this 20, get this 20.
Have you got spot?
Go tunnel,
He's
go tunnel. She's top cat, top cat.
Absolute, lay down behind the caution plot.
Take your time,
lay down behind the big front. I'm gonna get
top cat, left side.
Yo, front envoy. Alright.
Top cat, Formal 1 shot. Envoy's front, he went. Yo, Formal squaring up cat, bro.
I'm gonna help Dark, bro.
I flashed him.
Come dead!
Push that tunnel, push that tunnel. He's going back to the hill from tunnel. Dark, hurt. Envoy.
Absolute, bro.
Top green, Formal. Caution. Formal dead, one more in hill, Brandon.
Dark.
Still alive, the left.
Okay, let's get away with that.
Top cat, couldn't you off? He's laying down top cat.
No top cat.
He dropped B-hop.
Yo, Charlie hill, Brandon.
What's low vent on you?
Can we get Brandon? I'm
Set this low vent.
That's in low vent.
He could be Dark.
In the B1.
Two. He went left side mid. He went left side mid. Yep. Look what's top green. I'm gonna be up. He can go rails. He's mid. Rails.
I need you to rails. I need rails. He's out still.
Stay hand P1. Up and down. P1. P1 Dashy, sit down. He's mid. You saw mid.
I start green.
P1. Close rails.
Top green.
Top cat. One more top cat formal. He's going top green window. In top green window.
Top green.
Nice.
That's
guys. I'm hopping up.
I didn't hit him. He's still tank.
That's not mid. Nice job. One square. Time. I'm working on mid. He's P1. Dashy's P1. Close green box. P1 stairs. Close green. On your P1 stairs. Dashy.
Dashy on the stairs.
Nice shit. Scump is green. Still alive. He's above you down. Above you. Yeah, he's still there. I got shot in the back. Low rails. He's mid tank. He's low hill. Low mid. Low rails. That's my man. He's picking your side.
I can kill the guy.
Back tank. Still rails. He's back right. One more top green. Top green above me. Top green. Top green. Absolute. They're spawning bricks. Absolute top green. They're spawning bricks. Top green.
Well, Joe, I was hoping to hear fired up Paris again. I think that's what I got.
Yeah, I mean, it's really tepid Aqua. You hear Scraps a little bit in there. Zaptius a little quieter. But, you know, when you have basically a couple of players saying everything that needs to be said, you're all for it. And there is a very fine line, you have to say, between sort of energy and panic in communication. There might be some pros listening to that they don't like that, right? Some people just can't really handle that all of the time. But if it works for Paris, it works. If it gets them fired up, that's all that matters.
100%. Different types of communication work for different people. And as I say that, though, that's going to be 4 down for Legion. But time ticking off of the hard points. Everyone looking to set up for next. It's going to be Dashy in position to hold this. Only got to drop 1 before he gets traded out. Now on over to Envoy. We'll go. Formal lining people up. Maybe starting to heat up a bit in this one. Envoy's been on one the entire game, though. 19 and 12. 4 in a row for him. Having himself a map, but they're down 15.
Yeah, but you see that spawn recognition right away from Formal and Dashy. I mean, Envoy and Scump get very aggressive. A great job by Dashy. Him and Formal, they know 2 players are going to spawn out, and they get both of the kills. So now with this map position, look at this spread by OpTic right now. Envoy and Scump just rotating around the map, finding kill after kill as they soak up this time. This makes that rotation a little bit easier to second. You have Formal already rotating on over. Dashy just trying to get that time. But we saw this last time around. Can OpTic make it a little bit cleaner at this second hill? A nice opening gunfight win by Aqua. And here comes the pinch. But Scump holding on.
Yeah, they had another player there, and it's our Game Fuel featured player in Scump making the play. Trophy, get out of my way as well. They'll be in a position for this opening hold. Is everyone going to be spawning on the left side of that minimap? As Legion gets set up, poke the front of the point. 2 are going to drop. They found an opening into it. Really, the last guy here is going to be Formal playing from top green. So what looked pretty solid for OpTic early due to Scump's play. It's a pretty fast break for Legion.
Oh, well, it looked amazing, right, from the first kill in the map control that they had, but they lost it really quickly. They died right around that 10 second mark. That gave Paris an opportunity to get pushed up. They took advantage of it. I thought Scump, with his 2 kills, they were going to be able to hold on, but Scraps and Zap just fight on back with 5 kills in a row. And now it's a race across the map for these spawns for our 3rd hill. The Envoy and Scump trying to do what they can. Sorry, Dashy trying to do what they can all the way towards the back. And Scraps, he's by himself, just trying to buy time. But they're going to hunt him down.
Yeah, 100%. Like, can I stay alive till my teammates get here? Oh, God, they're going to nearly chest bump, but Scraps comes away with it. Scump going to drop at the same time. There's an opening now for Legion. The players for OpTic Chicago do spawn safe, so still be in a position to fight this. But the back garage, I thought open for Legion for a moment. Now the hit's going to come in from the front. To our Game Fuel feature player we go, as Scump is trying to hold on around the point, soak up the time, make the plays. Just so many in front, but the help is there. OpTic still standing in the point.
And Dashy now on 4 in a row. Such a good job just playing his life, paying patiently towards the back, making sure they had the spawn secure, and they needed this, right? Down 40 points coming into it. Now up to a 5 spree, start to think about some streaks. About to have a lead change come in. They're playing for that map position. You see, that was Formal on the hill. He knows the back spawns are in, and OpTic, they're able to get out towards the middle of the map. And Scraps again is in this position on rotation where he's just trying to hide from OpTic, playing a little hide and go seek. And now can Scraps make the play? It feels like they forgot about him right now. Formal though, he's taking down his teammates. When does Scrap come out of the vent? Here we go.
Here he'll pop. Now what can he get off of this? Little pre-fire out. Envoy and him so many times almost seen each other. That one he's able to take, but Formal quickly threw on the trade. Basically a tie game as Legion now trying to open up another lead. And Aqua, who has been sensational for them, especially in their last series, not having as big of a pop-off game as he did maybe in the last, with the teammates stepping it up in a big way.
Well, that's what we needed, right? Especially in hardpoint. That's where Aqua's been so consistent all year long, but his teammates have really struggled in the slaying category. And, well, they're slaying with one of the best hardpoint teams in the game right now. Got Scraps, who's positive, Temps right around even. Same with Zaptius, and have this 25-point lead. They're just getting the kills at the right moments. OpTic is out slaying them. It's just when those kills are coming in that they've been able to break those setups and make this game a lot tougher for OpTic.
Well, OpTic's trying to make it a little tougher on Legion as they do get 3 down during that sequence. Fresh hardpoint is up, and OpTic have rotated in. The Temps POV we go. He's got some from the front, some behind. He will drop as Formal picks up a 2-piece. Now, unfortunately, Scump, who's pre-aiming top green, gets peeked from up close and will fall. Formal heating up. He started a little slow. Now on 3 in a row at 23 and 19. He's picking it up. As OpTic looking for a lead change in this one.
Well, and you see when your main ARs or your ARs, especially on hills 4 and 5, are finding those kills or those threes. That's when they can get into the power positions. That's when you're able to really eat up that time. Is once again, we're going to have another lead change. It feels like we've had so many already. Is OpTic again fighting for the middle map control with about 5 to 10 seconds left so they can get the setup they want and force Paris to run into those ARs. The Scump's going to find a Craig. But look at the push. It's all going to be from top green. The Legion, they're trying to fly out together. They're able to find that first one, but they know they have to break.
Here comes the big push. OpTic can technically close it out here. You need some contest, some time if you are Legion. Temp wins a one-on-one. Aqua is picking up the spawn out. He's able to do that beautifully. Nice shots there from Aqua as we were just calling out his slow game. He's starting to light fire. Zaptius then from top green keeps it rolling, and it's a Legion break. They're in the point. Another lead change as Legion go out in front with 20 seconds remaining on the point.
Yeah, it's going to be a key one-on-one right here. Aqua versus Dashy, and Aqua again on the rotation. You're going to see he has his team spawns. They're going to give this up. It's going to be about this second hill. OpTic. Been a couple of opportunities where they rotated early, but they were not able to hold on. And now they get that break. Maybe close out this game, but it is all tied up. Who is going to start off that push? Emp off a spawn. He was able to find one. Going to be a push through bricks. Zaptius, the point man. Gonna have a 1v1 versus Scump, and in the back, Formal, as you said, heating on up. Able to take him down as they get positioning. And once again, it comes down to Scraps, but Formal with